Good evening and welcome to our Board of Education work session, October 14, 2025. We apologize for being late, starting with our work session. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Shay Fields, may I please have a roll call to establish a quorum?
Yes, Ms. Moore,
Present.
Dr. Coleman,
Present.
Ms. Lane,
Here.
Ms. Tisworth,
Present.
Ms. Williams,
Present.
Dr. Yvonne Elliott,
Present.
and Ms. Jackson.
Here. Thank you. Next, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda.
Madam Chair, I'll second.
Okay, it has been moved by Dr. May and seconded by Ms. Moore to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? There's no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. The agenda has been approved. Next, we will move on our agenda and have review excellence.
All right, good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, colleague, community members, scholars, everyone in attendance. Great to see so many people here this evening. For Riverview Excellence today, I'm gonna read these in reverse order. We have a couple of people who need to get to work this evening. And so first, if I can have DSO Jarrell Baker and Nurse Shanice Robertson, please stand. From Westview Middle School. And DSO Baker and Nurse Robertson, they are being acknowledged today for helping to potentially save a life. So there was a scholar at Westview Middle School who had a medical emergency, became unconscious during a school activity, and they jumped in. DSO Baker and the nurse Robertson, they helped to keep the child, to make sure that they were conscious. They talked to the scholar until the emergency medical services arrived. And so once the EMS arrived, they took care of the child, and the child did survive. And so we just want to thank them for their fast acting, their quick action, and tending to that child to make sure that that life was preserved. So we salute them for review excellence. Yeah, we can give them a standing ovation. And we already gave them their certificates and their T-shirts. Now, we will take a quick photo with the board afterwards. But we definitely want to thank you. That is very important, and so we definitely want to give them. Next, Ms. Phyllis Knight, a reading specialist at Moline Elementary School. And Ms. Knight was recently awarded with the Edward and Esther Haywood Caring Educator Award. This award was established to honor the legacy of Edward and Esther Haywood. It provides long overdue recognition to teachers who demonstrate extraordinary degrees of caring for their students, their parents, and their colleagues. And so we appreciate you, Phyllis Knight, for receiving that award and for doing all the things necessary to get that acknowledgement. And so congratulations to you. Yeah, we'll have you come up in a second. Yep. And then last but not least, we have two scholars from the high school, Miss Kalia B. and Tyrese D. You all can stand. Kalia and Tyrese have kicked off the year with a bang. They have received over 15 scholarships to colleges and universities and counting. So far, they have each gotten over $25,000 in renewable college scholarship offers. And they both are active members of the award-winning Riverview Gardens High School Marching Band. And they did a wonderful job at homecoming this weekend as well. So congratulations to you. So first, let's have our scholars come up. And the family can come up as well. Let's give it up for the family members who brought them here. You're gonna go through this. Yeah, we're gonna funnel you through to take a photo with the board. Family, if you want to be in the photo, come on up. Come on up. You say 17. Okay, 17. And counting, and counting. All right, make a little room for Dr. Coleman. I can, yeah, once Dr. Coleman is in there, there we go. The photo coordinator, thank you.
My grandson has been accepted to 17 colleges with scholarships. More than on the way. All right. Just want her to say that in case I feel a shout. Shout, I'm all right now.
All right, thank you. Now our staff members, if we can have our staff members come up as they lead. Congratulations. Yeah, don't go anywhere, board members. We got our staff members coming up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And that concludes Riverview Excellence. We thank you all.
Next, we will move to our superintendent's report.
Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to give you an update just on what's been happening since we last met. This weekend, we had a successful homecoming. So let's give a round of applause for that. We had a wonderful pep rally at the high school. Our students were engaged in having a lot of fun there. We had GOV perform. We had some of our dancers, our cheerleaders. It was a great time at the high school. After that, on Saturday morning, we had the parade. The parade was so long that we looped back around and we caught the back of the parade. So it was a very long parade. And so we had a lot of our students out. We had our dance group, our cheerleaders. The band did a phenomenal job. We had some middle school performers there. So it went very, very well. And then our game didn't go so well, but they only lost by 1 point. So we've got to give them a round of applause anyway. And then finally, homecoming went well. How do I know this? Because all of our students arrived home safely.
Yes.
So it was a safe that when our students arrive home safely, that's a win. So we had a very, very busy week. Last week, we also, over the last 2 weeks, we also had a few fathers walks. We had them at Michelle Obama, Danforth, Glasgow, Gibson, and Highland. And we have had a lot of fathers as well as caretakers, grandfathers, friends who showed up to support our students. So thank you to all of the father and father representations that came out. Tomorrow, we have Lewis and Clark, Meadows, LeMasters, Moline, and Koch, and that's at 7:45 a.m. So please come out and support all of our fathers who show up for their children. There were so many fathers at these events that those that say fathers are not involved, I beg to differ. We have fathers that are involved, and we have people who will stand up for those students and be involved in their lives. So those fathers walks have gone well, and that's a part of the student support and family engagement. We have an I do want to mention the national night outs that we had last week. There were a few national nights outs. I want to thank Mayor Reggie Jones and Mayor James Thomas for inviting me to come to Bell Fountain and Delwood's National Night Out. I was able to meet a lot of families, a lot of children, a lot of community members. Some of our board members were there as well. So thank you all for that invite. We have rescheduled our Boundary Realignment Committee. That was originally scheduled for National Night Out, but no one was going to be at the meeting because they were all at National Night Out. So we rescheduled it. It will be next Tuesday, October the 21st at 6 p.m. at Danforth Elementary School. We will be discussing the realignment of Riverview Gardens as we close Danforth. We will also discuss a kindergarten through second grade and third through fifth grade configuration and what would be sister schools. And then we will update the usage of Danforth, where we are in that in terms of the universities that we've reached out to and their response. And so I do want to provide those updates. Finally, I do want to give, well, not finally, but I want to give an update to our current enrollment as I talk about the boundary realignment. Currently, as of yesterday, we have 4,631 students enrolled. When I did a comparison today, I looked at 2019, 2020, all the way through 25, 26, we have a decline of 783 students in Riverview Gardens. So it is speaking to the information we found out with the boundary alignment in terms of them saying that we will lose students over the next 10 years. I did want to mention that as we think about how we're going to redraw our boundaries and close Danforth. Everyone has heard about the government shutdown, so I do want to provide some update to that. Most of the federal K-2 education funding, including Title I, as well as IDEA, was already dispersed for the 25-26 school year. So we should be okay in terms of our funding. However, that's in the short term. We will continue to look at what will happen in the long term as it relates to shortfalls in the funding that we're getting from the federal government, as well as our free and reduced status, being able to provide free breakfast and free lunch to our students. So we are hopeful that this doesn't last for long because we want to make sure that we continue to provide support to our families. They've laid off nearly 90% of the U.S. Department of Education, so there's no one there to answer the phones most times. And that, when we're seeking policy guidance or we're seeking new grant information, that will be delayed. As it relates to Missouri DESE's budget, the federal funds represents 27% of DESE's total $8.7 billion budget. And while the state budget provides for a buffer, a lengthy federal government shutdown could put a strain on state finances. So I will make sure that I continue to give the board an update and the community an update on where we are as it relates to the government shutdown. Madam Chair, that concludes my announcement.
Next, you have, September travel report.
Yep, moving into our September travel report, the presenter of the person making this presentation is Dr. Joel Ramsdale. He is the Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, and this is in conjunction with policy IGBA. Dr. Ramsdale.
Good evening, President Williams, members of the board, Superintendent Patton, and guests. Tonight I'm providing an informational report regarding our district-approved out-of-area professional development travel for the first quarter of the fiscal year 2025-2026, which covers the dates July 1 through September 30th. The purpose of providing the summary is to maintain transparency in how professional development funds are used and used to demonstrate our ongoing commitment to staff learning and growth. These opportunities directly align with our comprehensive school improvement plan under the staffing and workforce goal, which focuses on increasing our staff fill rate and reducing turnover of both certified and non-certified staff through high-quality professional development. The total cost of all first quarter out-of-area professional development travel was $8,031.53, which was fully budgeted across multiple funding sources, including federal programs, Perkins, Board of Education, Human Resources, Safety and Security, Student Support, and Superintendent's budget. This compares to $12,392.42, which was spent last year during the first quarter, resulting in a reduction of 35.2% in our spending. Each of these learning experiences supports our broader district mission to build our staff capacity, enhance instructional quality, and strengthen leadership across all areas of our district. This is presented for information only, so there's no board action required. I am more than happy at this time to answer any questions you may have.
Ms. Tisworth.
The reduction, is it because there was no employees? Why was it less?
Right now, we do have a limit made by Dr. Patton on out-of-state travel. So that has been enforced quite strongly to make sure that we were saving monies in regards to our budget deficit.
Yep, that's why, Ms. Tisworth. I do want to make a correction. I identified the wrong policy. It's policy DLCA travel expenses and policy GCL PD opportunities for staff. So I just want to make that correction.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving into our items for discussion. Our first,
We have consent agenda
oh, I'm
first.
sorry.
I would like a motion to approve
Thank
the
you.
consent agenda.
Madam Chair, I so move. I second.
Okay, it has been moved by Ms. Morrill and seconded by Ms. Jackson to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? No
I
discussion.
need to just have for the superintendent, for the checks where the address was wrong, was it being sent to the actual company, the wrong address? Why was it the wrong address? Like,
Can I find that information out, Dr. May? I don't want to give you the wrong answer. I want to give you the right answer.
okay,
Thank you.
that was my only question.
Thank you, Dr. May. As there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. The consent agenda has been approved. Next, we will move into our items for discussion. The first item that we have is our Board of Education norms, and we've worked on these for a couple of work sessions now. And board members, I want to know if you all have any additional norms or any questions about the document that was created based on input from the board members. If there's anything, any further discussion, or would you like, someone like to make a motion to adopt these norms? I just want to know where we are in this process. So if you click on the link there, you'll see the shared document that we had in place for the norms. Are there any questions or discussions or Any changes?
I guess.
Yes, Dr. May?
Does this capture all of the ones from the sample that was recommended as well, or?
So I'm not exactly sure if it does, but when I reviewed this document, it looked comprehensive to me. The wording might not be exactly the way it was in the other document, but it includes the policy that references, the Robert's Rules of Order, policy BCB, and also policy BBF, which is board member ethics, which covers a lot of this anyway. And so just my feedback is that this is a good document for us to move forward with regarding our norms. However,
Okay.
this is a work session, so we can't discuss it further.
I know, for a collective agreement, it has used language from the document, so that would be an area where, maybe it's, replaced. But I would say that to wrap it up, maybe we could, have a virtual session, that's not in this setting and finish it up that way.
You can make a motion.
I move for us to conclude our Board of Education norm development in a session to be determined virtually.
I second.
Okay, it has been moved by Dr. May to conclude our Board of Education norm discussion in a virtual work session, and it has been seconded by Ms. Jackson. Is there any further discussion? No? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Okay, right, next we have, I believe Dr. Coleman is next.
Hi, yes, we have the MSBA advocacy positions that MSBA will be that we'll be voting on changes in the language. So if you would look at in your minutes, the handbook, fall handbook. And if we click there and we can scroll down to, there's a lot of information there for your reading so that you understand more about MSBA and the advocacy positions. And those are the things that Ms. Mara Real works on in that committee. What we're looking at today are the proposals that will go before our October session. And those things start on page 9. If you turn to page 9 or scroll down to page 9, I should say, you'll see the first proposal is under, I keep squiggling here, sorry. It's the finance section. And so the MSBA is voted on language, and you'll see that sometimes there's a strike through and the new language is in red. And so as we look at that, under section 1, finance, adequate and equitable school funding, MSBA believes there should be a regular, recurring review of Missouri's approach to funding public education and encourages a more simplified and equitable system. This is to ensure that we are reviewing the finances on a more regular basis than had been in the past. The district you see that submitted that was the Melville R9 district, and the explanation provided by Melville R9, the current foundation formula for state funding dates to 2005, which is 20 years old. While it is currently under review for future changes and hopefully a complete overhaul, 20 years between review periods of the foundation formula is much too long between review periods. Making a scheduled review scenario such as every 10 years should allow for the foundation formula to be reviewed regularly without wasting time on it being done too frequently, nor have the next review wait until 20 years or more to be reviewed again. Advocacy Committee recommendation, the MSBA Advocacy Committee supports the adoption of this amended advocacy position. and the Executive Committee recommendation is the MSBA Executive Committee supports the adoption of this revised amendment advocacy position. The next one, oh, if I could just ask for us, okay. Do you want to do each one at a time or go
I
about
would
it?
rather that we vote
One
on
at-
each one.
Okay, one at a time. Okay, so what I want to know is, as your delegate, let me restate that. I motion that we approve, that we vote in favor of and approve the recommendation for proposal one to have regular recurring review of Missouri's approach to funding. I second.
It has been motioned by Dr. Coleman and seconded by Ms. Lane, to approve proposal one, which deals with adequate and equitable school funding. Is there any further discussion? And no discussion? Did you have something, Dr.?
No, I was just gonna, recommend us going through them all and hearing them and maybe, motioning for all of the recommended ones that you have, just to expedite time. But we can approve this motion, but that was just my recommendation, so we can, just maybe accept all your recommendations all at once. Okay, Dr. Nikita.
So we can try, absolutely, we can try.
Okay. But I was just saying, we can vote on this one though, since we just.
We'll
have
go ahead and
simple
vote on
motion.
this one.
Okay, we'll vote on this one.
Yeah, Shay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, all right, we've accepted proposal one, okay, we'll go
Okay.
through.
Proposal two. This is section 3 personnel, section 3 personnel and J retirement. MSBA supports incentives within the existing public school retirement system that will encourage teachers and administrators to remain in the public school system. MSBA supports legislation that provides school districts the flexibility to employ retirees, particularly in a high-need certification area. MSBA supports clarification that teachers receiving retirement benefits are not eligible for tenure. 4, MSBA, and this is the change in the language or the added language. MSBA supports legislation that makes permanent the waiver of limitation that allows PSRS and PEERS members to work as substitute teachers after retirement. Submitting this was Melville R9, and their explanation provided by Melville R9. Since the creation of RSMO 168.036 from SB 681 back in 2022 that created the waiver that allowed retired teachers to be allowed to teach part of a full school year, it has made a noticeable positive impact on resolving the issues with finding teachers to work in a part-time or substitute capacity by school district. Since SB 68 from 2025 has extended this waiver from expiring on June 30th, 2025 to June 30th, 2030, it shows the merit of continuing to allow retired teachers to teach for part of a school year or a substitute teacher. The change presented here would advocate to make this waiver permanent without the need to be renewed every few years. For the obvious benefits it provides to school districts dealing with teacher and substitute teacher shortages. The Advocacy Committee recommendation. The MSBA Advocacy Committee supports the adoption of this revised new advocacy position. The Executive Committee recommendation. The MSBA Executive Committee supports the adoption of this revised new advocacy position. And these revisions were made to the initial submission by the MSBA Advocacy Committee. Okay. Proposal 3, and this is Section 2, Instruction, K, Pre-Kindergarten Education Programs. MSBA supports collaborative partnerships for early childhood education utilizing existing programs, school district preschools, contracted service programs, and community-based programs that meet high-quality standards. MSBA supports the inclusion of quality early childhood training in leadership preparation programs. MSBA supports legislation that will provide adequate funding and technical support to all school districts so they may offer quality, voluntary pre-kindergarten education programs, including the Parents as Teachers program. MSBA supports standards and licensure requirements for all public preschools and full certification for all Missouri preschool teachers. MSBA supports a voluntary, free, and equitable preschool program available to all Missouri families. The new language. 6, MSBA supports ongoing professional and developmentally appropriate early childhood education training for preschool teachers. Submitting district was Warrensburg, R6. The explanation provided by Warrensburg R6 to support professional and developmentally appropriate early childhood educational training for preschool teachers. The Advocacy Committee recommendation. The Advocacy Committee supports the adoption of this new advocacy position, and the Executive Committee recommendation. The MSBA Executive Committee supports the adoption of this new advocacy position. Proposal 4, Section 3, School Finance in Superintendent's Payout. The new language. MSBA supports legislation to limit superintendent payouts upon separation or termination to no more than 1 year's salary, thereby protecting taxpayers from undue burden. Submitting district was the Columbia Public Schools. The explanation provided by Columbia Public Schools using taxpayer dollars to give six-figure payouts to failing superintendents is not physically responsible. Boards across the state are faced with difficult decisions every year when negotiating separation terms with superintendents who are missing the mark. Because the superintendents are almost universally engaged in 3-year rolling contracts, any conversation about a termination or settlement comes with the price tag that is informed by the duration of that contract. Bluntly, this recently created a situation for our board where, and this is the Warrensburg School speaking, where there were no good options, and in order to secure a timely separation from a sitting superintendent, we paid more than $650,000 in public dollars. We included language in our subsequent superintendent contract to limit any payouts to 12 months of salary, which is what we are proposing to MSBA as an advocacy position. We adopted a similar advocacy position as a board in March of 2025 and had several positive conversations with legislators during the remainder of the legislative session about this idea. We feel, and again, this is the Warrensburg School District speaking, we feel that it would be beneficial to smaller districts who may not have the draw of a place like Columbia to have a statutory limit to the physical risk. Our board discussed that although We are typically in favor of local control in most situations. We could not think of a time that a local board would prefer to pay more money than less to a superintendent upon separation or termination. The Advocacy Committee recommendation, the Advocacy Committee opposes the adoption of this new advocacy position. And there was no executive committee recommendation. Proposal 5, adequate and equitable school funding. MSBA opposes the direct or indirect use of public funds for non-public K through 12 education because it is detrimental to public education. This would include, and this is the new language, this would include the redirection of taxpayer funds from general revenue into programs that can fund non-public K through 12 education. Advocacy Committee action, the Advocacy Committee voted to not report this position to the Delegate Assembly. Submitting district was Melville R9. Explanation provided by Melville R9. Funding voucher programs via general revenue reallocation takes taxpayer money from other areas of state and forces them to be used for non-public educational purposes when the money may be more efficiently used on more necessary items across the state, especially for education use without full accountability, with a looming budget shortfall coming at the end of fiscal year 26 or fiscal year 27, funding voucher programs that are currently defined as donation funded is not the best use of taxpayer money. The upcoming budget shortfall may force cuts to fully fund the foundation formula, the transportation formula, teacher grant programs, or other items within the elementary and secondary education annual budget. The Advocacy Committee recommendation, the Advocacy Committee opposes the adoption of this amended advocacy position. Proposal number 6, adequate and equitable school funding. MSBA strongly opposes any attempt to divert revenue committed to or intended for public education. This would also include, this is the language, the redirection of taxpayer funds from general revenue into programs that can fund non-public education. Submitting district is Melville R9. Explanation provided by Melville R9. Funding voucher programs via general revenue reallocation takes taxpayer money from other areas of state use and forces them to be used for non-public educational purposes when the money may be more efficiently used or more necessary items across the state, especially for education use without full accountability. With a looming budget shortfall coming at the end of fiscal year 26 or fiscal year 27, funding voucher programs that are currently defined as donation funded is not the best use of taxpayer money. The upcoming budget shortfall may force cuts to fully fund the fundamental formula, the transportation formula, teacher grant programs, and other items within the elementary and secondary annual budget. Advocacy Committee recommendation, the Advocacy Committee opposes the adoption of this amended advocacy position. Proposal number 7, and I believe this is the last one. Finance non-public school funding. MSBA opposes the use of vouchers tax credits, deductions for tuition and related educational expenses, and other similar credit systems to support non-public K through 12 schools that are not subject to the same accountability standards as Missouri public schools and do not enroll and educate all students. MSBA also supports measures that increase the accountability of these non-public K through 12 schools that participate in or benefit from these programs. The new language, MSBA additionally opposes the funding of any voucher program with taxpayer funds redirected from general revenue. Submitting district was Melville R9. Explanation provided by Melville. Funding voucher programs via general revenue reallocation takes taxpayer money from other areas of state and forces them to be used for non-public educational purposes when the money may be more efficiently used or more necessary items across the state on more necessary items across the state, especially for education use without full accountability, with a looming budget shortfall coming at the end of fiscal year 26 or fiscal year 27, funding voucher programs that are currently defined as donation funded is not the best use of taxpayer money. The upcoming budget may force cuts to fully fund the foundation formula, the transportation formula, teacher grant programs, or other items within the elementary and secondary educational budget. The Advocacy Committee recommendation, the Advocacy Committee opposes the adoption of this amended advocacy position.
Madam Chair,
Yes, thank you.
I move for the board delegate to vote in alignment with the Advocacy Committee recommendations for proposals 2 through 7.
I second.
Okay, it has been motioned by Dr. May and seconded by Ms. Lane for the board to vote in alignment with the MSBA recommendations. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
I'm not sure, Chair, if this is the point, because we're talking about these policies that we just voted on. There were a couple of issues in that, the one that was before, on the one that's 36 pages, that I would like a little bit of clarification of.
Okay, which page was it on?
Let me just, in the interest of time, let me just read it to you because I'm only gonna ask 2 questions. The first one has to do with school board elections. I'm not gonna read the whole paragraph. Last sentence, MSBA opposes the use of cumulative voting in the election of school board directors. What does that mean, cumulative voting? Do you know?
So that's not one of the proposals. You're looking at the policies in, if I'm correct.
I understand
right?
you're not
No, I'm
voting
asking-
on that.
Right, but then, yeah, so you're looking at a policy. So I need to look at that policy. Do you know?
So the second part of that, just if you're looking at, it also states that MSBA opposes legislation that would require school board filing to occur at any location other than the district's central office. So does that mean the filing has to happen at the district office?
I think that, remember, we went through that a couple of years ago, and that's when we, am I correct, Shay? That's when we stopped, because you used to could file here. And then we started going to the, is it the election commission? We started going to St. Louis County. Why we did that, I'm not sure. I'm just thinking that we're in a more urban setting, and I'm thinking, was it a question, not really for us, but for smaller districts that were far, because this includes all the districts in Missouri, not just us. So was it because I guess what I'm asking, did we move to this so that the voting to,
It was.
So this
oh, yeah,
state,
that's right.
so this states that MSBA opposes legislation that would require school board filing to occur at any location other than the district office.
Okay.
This is proposed.
No, this is what they've already done. And they did that because, the school board election takes place over winter break. And this, not the election, but the filing takes place over winter break, and we're closed from like the 19th to the 5th or 6th or something. And there was no way to get into the schools to do the filing because the schools were closed, and that's why they moved that everybody go to their,
Okay, I'm gonna
election.
do some research on
Madam,
that.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
this was done because of the smaller school districts primarily. And I did explain to them when we had our meeting that the process that we use, they're not opposed to that process for the very reason that you just stated. Why have the school district open per se? I know we do something, we make some type of special arrangements or whatever.
So, yes, it's
yeah.
more real. We would only be required to ensure that we're open the
For the
day, the
date.
very
First
first
date.
day at that time.
Yes.
And then we would schedule over the break. And so the district would not be open. It would be myself and the
Right,
city.
right,
We would have someone here to, ensure that we would be let in.
right,
Because the district is closed. It's not partially open or anything.
right.
And so the board voted to engage in a resolution with St. Louis County.
County, yes.
And that they would handle all of our.
That's where I was going with that,
Yeah.
but the smaller school districts, they're like, hey, you're gonna come up here and do it, we're gonna be open, kind of like she said, you're gonna do it, and that's it. So it did have to do with the smaller districts. You have a lot of districts that have, there's one district that we discussed, they have less than just say 100 kids in their district. And a lot of those people, you know what I'm saying, they have, not only do they maybe work in the district, but they may have other jobs as well. So in those smaller school districts, that's the case because then it's like they're paying an employee, they're paying an employee to be at the school at that time. So that's why they were real adamant about that for the smaller school districts.
Okay.
Madam Chair, it says, Mrs. Lane, in a cumulative voting system, voters can distribute their votes among candidates for a multi-seat school board. When you was asking about that cumulative, so they could distribute their votes among candidates. So like, I can give, I guess, like, my vote to 3 people. You can distribute your vote among the candidates for a multi-seat school board, potentially focus all their votes on a single candidate.
Right,
Or you can distribute it amongst the
right.
candidates.
Some districts in Missouri to do that, Ferguson is one, but not all. We don't all do that.
And that too has a lot to do with the size of the districts.
Well, it
And
says
what they
that-
may choose to. Mhm.
So this says that MSBA opposes that. So how can those other districts do that if they say they oppose it?
We oppose it, but that, just because something is put down there, that's
Explain.
the whole purpose. When your delegate goes, if you don't like that, then you can tell your delegate not to support it. And
Okay.
if you have further questions about it that you would like to be asked, then you would write those to your delegate. You will give those to her and she can ask those questions while on the floor or whatever, when that's brought up.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Madam
you,
Chair, I think it's also important to know that these are just positions. It don't mean anything because it's not something that's legislative, and
Exactly.
now they might present it to a legislator to try to get something documented through a bill, but it's just a position. It's just how you
Exactly.
feel about something. It don't.
Exactly, and
know.
thank you, Miranda, because that's just what they use it for. They use this as a guideline to, when we have like the legislative days there or what have you, they use that as a guideline for the people that advocate for us, the attorneys that advocate for us, what have you. That's what that's used for. But, so even though we agree to support this, if it's something that, you know, you don't feel comfortable about or you don't want her to support it, then you have to let her know that. But once the board establishes a position, she has to abide by that position.
Thank you.
I got one other question because I'm not sure how to best address this outside of the autonomy that the delegate should have. Normally during the sessions, there are amendments that we will not be able to discuss and a vote will have to take place. I think that the delegate should use some autonomy on making that decision instead of trying to send something through email or gather or because, you know, we're gonna have a quorum situation trying to do that. It won't be public. So I would make a motion that our delegate makes an informed decision when amendments to motions are made.
May I, Board Chair, Dr. Yvonne Elliott, if that's your position, she would have to discuss that prior to the delegate assembly. Because once the board, I'm gonna state this again because I checked into this. Once the board makes a decision, she has no autonomy then. She has to vote the way the board has accepted for her to vote.
They vote on amendments. We won't have the information. When I say that I would
Mhm.
like to amend whatever Melville has done
Mhm.
and they call for the vote, she's voting on what someone has presented.
That's the
With-
reason that the delegate
Mhm.
handbook is made available, and I think I've said that on several occasions. The delegate handbook is made available for everyone to go into. You don't have to wait until she reads it. The delegate handbook can be given to you at any point in time to review those. But I'm just saying,
No,
we had a
I'm
list.
saying that amendment is, they do that from the floor.
Mhm.
So from the floor is not written.
A board can make an amendment,
Mhm.
but that doesn't mean that your board has to go against what they voted. These are people that probably had this issue in their, when they talked to their delegate. That's just like Melville, you know, they had some things to say to me, but that's okay. Because once they submitted what they submitted in their rationale and what have you, as a delegate, as the advocacy committee, we reviewed that and we voted. 28 people 17 people, I apologize, representing the different regions of we voted on that. So that's what I'm saying. A lot of times, that's something that they have proposed ahead of time. And that's why they try to get up there and they try to change the vote to change the mind of the people. Melville, I'm sure, and even though I love him, Melville, I'm sure, is probably going to get on the floor and try to, you know, convince people to change their mind. That's how they do it in, I guess, Jefferson City and any place else. So they'll probably try to get up there and say, well, hey, you know, we want you all to really consider this, but I'm saying still, with all of that in play, whatever your board decides and we vote on, that's what the position she has to take. And it sounds crazy, I know.
Yeah, I don't think we saying the same
I
thing because
think
we
I
have our
understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
There was an instance when, matter of fact, when I first
Mhm.
got on the board, that when we went before the delegate, they had some wording and it was, it wasn't making, I won't say it wasn't making sense.
I remember.
It wasn't effective. It
Right.
wasn't efficient.
Right.
And so my recommendation standing there then was to say, we need to consider this, the time of school starting and all of that. And so we reworded it so
Yes.
that it took into consideration school start times and the time that it
Right.
would take to do those things.
Right. But it did not
But-
change your vote.
Because MSBA had a recommendation when we got through with all of that. And so we were
Right.
still able to support the recommendation of
Exactly.
MSBA because they were in favor of making the most effective and efficient decision.
Right.
So just given the point of, sometimes those amendments are made to say, hey, did you consider this? Did you consider that? But in the end, MSBA does, you know, they'll make a recommendation and we can, you know, we're voting in support of what they say. We just, you know, and if you have better wording, then, you know, certainly tell
Just
me
give
that
it
as well.
Right.
Yeah, just give it to her. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I'm saying, that she's gonna be on the floor dealing with that. We won't have time to do that. So that's why I'm making the motion. For
But if you,
autonomy.
the book should have everything in it that's going to be discussed, even the fact that somebody might want to make an amendment or adjustment or what have you, it should be in there.
No, we fill out a piece of paper to make the amendment during the session. They fill out a piece of paper right there. So it's no way it's printed because they are filling out a paper and.
You talking about your delegates are?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
When they're voting to
Right.
change the recommendation.
Right, and they
The
can do
report.
that as your delegate. But what I'm saying,
There's a vote on the floor as well.
oh,
Which vote?
okay.
Made a motion, I'm sorry.
I'm
Oh,
sorry, I
we
just,
voted on, we voted on the position.
Accepting the, proposals.
Yeah, I made a motion, it hadn't got second because it interjected into the discussion. So she interjected into the discussion before a second.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So when you interjected before the second, before we could have a discussion.
right,
So we need a second on my motion.
Sorry
I'll
about that.
restate it. My motion was for the delegate to have autonomy when it came to addressing the amendments that would take place on the floor, which is different than
right.
our, I'll let the second happen and then I'm just making a point of it.
I'll second it.
Okay.
Okay.
So it is different than what we
Right.
just said we agreed to. If there is something else that she has to vote on, she can't come to us.
Right.
She is going to use her autonomy
Right.
in alignment with what we have voted on to make the decision.
Right, and I'm sorry, Miranda, because that's exactly what I was trying to explain to her, so I misunderstood what you were saying. But that's what I was trying to say her. Once we give her that authority, then it's up to her to represent us with that information. So that's
Okay,
what
so-
I'm sorry, I misunderstood what you were
Okay,
saying. Yeah.
All right, so the motion has been made by Dr. May to give our delegate, the autonomy.
Yes.
If there's an amendment or
Right,
something
anything.
on the floor, give her the autonomy to make the, vote that she feels is in the best interest of
The
what
review
we've
guards.
decided here as a board,
Right.
and Ms. Morrill has seconded that.
Mhm.
Any further discussion?
I'm looking at your face.
All in favor?
What's your thoughts, Ms. Blaney?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, the next item up for discussion is the policy recommendations. Making this presentation is Ms. Jennifer Williams, Human Resource Manager. And this is in conjunction with Policy CH, Policy Implementation and Dissemination. Ms. Williams?
Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, community, and colleagues. Tonight, I will be presenting 4 policies for discussion. Our first policy is policy IGBB, which is Programs for Gifted Students. This policy is being updated to reflect that the district will follow the guidance provided by state law and the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. The new policy also states that the gifted education coordinator will create the systematic process for the identification of gifted scholars. That includes a universal screening, evaluation, and notification process. This process also outlines reevaluation and services provided to transfer students who were previously identified in another school district. It is recommended that the district accept the revisions made by MSBA. The second policy is policy EGAA, copyright compliance. This policy is being retitled and recoded from the district's reproduction of copyrighted materials policy, EGAAA to EGAA copyright compliance, to align the policy with the Federal Teach Act and current laws governing both in-person and digital instruction. It is recommended that the district adopts the retitled and recoded policy EGAA to align with the Federal Teach Act to reinforce staff and student compliance, as well as mitigate district liability for copyright infringement. It is also recommended that we rescind policy EGAAA. The third policy is policy JEA, compulsory and part-time attendance. recent changes specifically to Senate Bill 727 and House Bill 2287 in 2024, introduced more detailed definitions on homeschooling, and created the new category of family-paced education. Family-paced education identifies homeschooling programs that receive public funds through the Missouri Empowerment Scholarship Accounts Program. The update simply has referenced family-paced education in the policy, again, which is government funded. It is recommended that the district accepts the changes as recommended by MSBA. The final policy is policy JHCD, administration of medications to students. This policy is being updated to make it clear that the district prohibits the possession, use, or administration of medical marijuana on school grounds, even if a student has a valid Missouri-issued medical marijuana card. The district also prohibits the possession or self-administration of medications unless authorized. Medications like over-the-counter drugs or prescription medications can only be given if delivered in original packaging and following prescribed guidelines. Emergency medications such as epinephrine and asthma rescue medications are allowed in life-threatening situations, and students or staff who violate the policy may face disciplinary actions. It is recommended that the board will formally accept the recommended policy or changes with the following exceptions. We're asking that the district decline all language that supports the administration or accommodation of marijuana, related products, and CBD products, including but not limited to any accommodations requested under Section 504. In alignment with district standards and practices, all medication administration should be conducted through the school nurses unless we have a doctor's note stating otherwise to ensure proper oversight, safety, and compliance with the policy. While we know some medications may remain in a student's possession, this privilege is subject to review. If there is evidence that the student is not managing or administering the medication responsibly, or if such actions pose a risk to the student's own health or safety or that of others, then we will do whatever's necessary to make sure that they are prohibited from self-administering their meds. Are there any
So-
questions?
Yes, so this,
Okay.
the medical part, this is, MSBA proposed language or district
Yes.
proposed?
No. This is MSBA language, so if you look, are you referencing the last policy?
Yes, on the, the
Administration.
medication.
Okay.
So, so basically, if they have with the medical marijuana, it doesn't matter what their condition is, it won't be allowed. So if they have some type of reaction as a result of not having it, will it cause a liability because we put it in here and said they couldn't have it? I'm just curious.
Okay.
Good evening. We're just proposing that it is not administered on campus. So if a parent wants to administer it, take them home and administer it, that's fine. But we're requesting that it's not administered through a 504 plan where we jeopardize our nurses and their licensure, for the state of Missouri.
But the language existed prior to now. It said that it could be administered, but it's just not being changed now. So they license would have been at risk all this time then, right?
So in regards to this, MSBA is removing it. We haven't had any situations where we've had any requests through 504s or anything like that, up until this point.
Yeah, I'm just concerned about any liability if the child really needed something that the doctor had prescribed to them. Because I don't see it being feasible for a parent to come up here, take them outside, administer it, and then they come back in the building. I'm just not certain about that. And then even though they're proposing it, is it possible for the language around the IEP and 504 where it says um, the district prohibits students from possessing or self-administering in accordance with district policies, IEP, and Section 04? Does it have to have that additional sentence there? Could we, had you all talked about just combining that? So it says in accordance with the district policy, a student IEP, Section 504 plan, and then that could end the sentence. Had you all considered it?
So Dr. May, I'm not understanding the question, so I'm reading it. It says,
Mhm.
the district prohibits students from possessing or self-administering medication unless the student is allowed by law, that's the section you're reading,
Mhm.
to do so and has been given permission in accordance with district procedures, period. Students with an IEP or section 504 may possess and self-administered medication in accordance with their plan.
So you already said that they can self-administer according to the district procedure. And I was saying district procedure, comma, student IEP, Section 504.
So you're
and then
debating,
that
did it need to be a
ending-
whole nother sentence?
Yes,
We
and
could have
then
combined
ending it
them.
right there.
Right, we could have combined them. This is MSBA's recommendation, but we can
But we don't have to
combine.
accept. it,
Right,
yeah.
we can combine those sentences.
Yeah, I mean, because I know that sometimes, like, when it comes to parents, we also have to consider, them and their understanding of something. Sometimes we can add a little bit more that,
Than necessary.
than necessary,
Mhm.
that makes it, it can be simplified,
We
but
can make that adjustment.
yeah, but I was just concerned, I'm sure that the attorney has looked at this. I'm just concerned about liability and inconvenience of parents to just come up here to give them something and leave have to step outside, give them something, come back in. So have we talked to the attorney?
Well,
about
and
liability?
parents do that often when they're coming up and they want to give aspirin or any kind of medication like that. They have to come and they give it to their student. So we can confer with the attorney.
Okay.
I think MSBA has an attorney that they
Okay.
utilize for the wording as well. But if you want us to confer with our own attorneys, we can.
Just-
But MSBA has attorneys that they confer with.
Okay.
And this is the direct language from MSBA.
Mm.
Yes. Ms. Morrill and then Dr. Coleman.
Oh, no, I wasn't gonna say anything.
Okay.
So
Dr.
my
Coleman.
question is, do we have this as a question because we're talking about medical marijuana? And
Yeah.
is that different from, my
And
daughter needs a Tylenol and I'm gonna come up and bring her Tylenol? But, so to me, what I think I hear you saying is because we're talking about medical marijuana, that's why it would be important that we don't want the nurses to administer that. And it would be important that take the liability off the school and allow the parent to, is that what I hear you say? Okay.
Yes.
So basically, the policy already has said when applicable, the district staff would administer prescription medications containing CBD. Now that's being removed to say that we will not, but what is the consequence of that if the child really needs it and maybe the parent can come up here? We're gonna not do it and that child have that's what, so the policy allowed it before, now we prohibiting it.
So the question
And-
becomes, Dr. Mayor, why did they change it? So I wonder if
Yeah.
there was some liability issue as to why they would change it so that the school would not be administering it. I can ask that question
Okay.
to see why they changed it, if that's what if you'd like me to do that. We can
Ma-
ask that question.
Madam
Okay.
Chair, one of the things that I want to say, the people that work with us in advocacy also look at the policies. And it depends on also, like, they submitted a policy or whatever. And it depends on how many people say, well, no, we're not gonna do this at our school. We're not gonna do this, so y'all need to change this. So they'll, that happens sometimes too.
Yeah, we can have some of our nurses refuse to do it because they are worried about their licensure. So I can find out, Dr. May, why it was changed. but I would venture to guess it was probably because of a liability issue.
Okay, so even though it's medical, it impacts their licensure, even with it being a medical.
Why don't I ask that question
Okay.
and get back with you? Can I
Okay.
do that?
Sounds
Okay.
good.
All right.
Ms. Tisworth?
What's the child that they need marijuana?
Pain.
You know about pain. We have all kinds. I don't know. I don't know what illness a child has that she has to have marijuana drugs, marijuana medication. I do know about pain, and we have all kind of medication for pain. But the whole time when I was in school and we were in pain, Mama gave us a Tylenol. So we're giving out marijuana and stuff now.
So under the policy, we're asking that we're not administering medical marijuana.
Okay.
At this time, our nurses can't even give Tylenol,
Right.
at this point in time.
Next time it'll be crazy.
Yes, ma'am. So the parent, the parent has to come up and administer.
I thought you could give a Tylenol. I just don't understand the marijuana and the crack dealers.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next item up for discussion is the Emerson Early Literacy Challenge Grant. Making this presentation is Amber White, Principal of Moline Elementary School. Amber,
Yeah.
it has Dr. Amber White.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
It says it right
You
here.
can put whatever you want,
Okay.
as long as I don't have to pay the bill.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss
You know what?
something.
I'm gonna write that into the grant to see if they'll pay
That
for
would
that.
get you more money.
And I'm gonna have Nave do the work. 'cause
Okay.
That's what she did the last time we
Okay.
had classes together.
All right. So I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything, Dr. Amber White.
It was COVID. She was bored.
This is in conjunction with Policy DD grants. Dr. Amber White?
Hey, guys. Hey, this is gonna be uplifting, so it's not gonna be all the policy stuff. This Emerson Early Literacy Challenge, is sponsored by Emerson, which is a software technology company here in St. Louis. Their goal is to close early literacy gaps, and create proficient readers by third grade, specifically here in the St. Louis area. In the 24-25 school year, they awarded 4 schools in St. Louis with this grant for around $200,000 and have started a second cohort this year. So Moline applied for the grant and very excited that we were selected as one of the 4 schools. Yep, very excited. The Chiefs chop, thank you. So with that grant comes $5,000 for sort of startup planning, pay for subs for our literacy team to go to training. So there'll be 4 days of training and 1 offsite visit where we'll go, I believe, Virginia, to see a school that with kids that are similar to ours that are making significant strides. And over those 4 days of training and site visit, we will develop a plan. The goal of this plan is to combine really the sort of theory and practices of the science of reading with, okay, what does that really look like in a school? Because we get all this training, and then what does it look like? So over the course of this year, we will develop a plan. That plan will be approved by this Emerson team of literacy experts, and then they're going to write us a big old check for up to $200,000 to begin implementing the work. So I really just would like to ask you to please say yes and take some money. That's what I'd like to do. I believe this is not on for approval for this meeting, but the answer to your question that you asked earlier was that none of this is reimbursable.
Okay.
It is simply, we submit the plan, they monitor along the way, they've already done 2 site visits to come observe in classrooms, give feedback to help with the plan. So none of the grant is reimbursable. It's
Okay.
we're gonna write you a
They
check.
give us a check. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Any questions? Uh-oh, Monica's looking.
I have questions.
Dr.
So this is specific to Moline.
Yes, ma'am.
So how do we spread all this good fortune and education and training throughout our district so that all of our students succeed?
That's a wonderful question. Thanks, Dr. Coleman.
So we let Moline learn and grow, and then that Moline becomes the teacher for the rest of our district.
I mean, listen, the doors are open from 7:50 to, they're probably still open right now. But we believe that more heads are better, we're better together. We are, I'd say, a little bit further in our sort of science of reading journey. The district and the state kind of collaborated 2 years ago to send teachers to letters training. The year before that, we had 2 teachers who said, hey, look at this, what do you think about this? One of those was Miss Knight. And so the year before we started letters here, they were already in volume 1. So we've kind of been on the journey. I would like to say that in some of our, collaborative principals meetings that we'd be able to share things. I think we're at an interesting time with curriculum and instruction, that we're looking at what resources are we using. And so hopefully through some of our learning, exploring, visiting other schools, implementing best practices, that some of what we do is able to sort of test things out before we're making big purchases, that we're using somebody else's money to make sure that we like what we see, that we've got some stuff in hand that can be looked at not just by us, but by other people, kind of kickstarts that process. Yes, ma'am.
So this is literacy
Early literacy, specifically K-3. Yes, ma'am.
and
Sorry. Yes, ma'am.
the money is for Moline,
Yes, ma'am.
and is it after school?
Mm-mm. Nope.
I'm having a problem with this. I'm having a problem with that. Is there some kind of way, like I helped Reverend Jackie with her reading program and stuff at Lewis and Clark. Is there some kind of way we can get some money over there? I mean, we need all the help we can get. I mean, you got second and third graders, half of them don't even know what alphabet means.
I can't bring the money,
Yeah,
but I mean,
yeah.
I do think there's opportunities out there. This was kind of one that was presented to us and we qualified for it. Part of that is a school that's not, best way to describe it, in their infancy with sort of science of reading progress. We've kind of been on this journey for a couple of years. Some of it's just digging around to see where's the money and then asking for it.
Digs around. Who's doing the digging?
Who? I mean, I look for stuff all the time. Grants that come all the time, I'm looking for them. When they come my way.
Would they be
Ms. Mora Real
principal's
said she is too.
responsibility?
Not necessarily. I mean, I don't know that it's in my job description, but I like money.
So, Ms. Tisworth, we all look for grants. This grant was sent to me, and I sent it to Dr. Ramsdale, who sent it to every building principal. So grants come up all of the time, and when they come, we submit for them. Amber submitted for this grant, and they only chose 4 schools, I believe, in the St. Louis area.
Yes, ma'am.
And Moline was one of them. So there are grant opportunities all of the time, and we are also seeking grant opportunities all of the time. So I was on a grant site today looking for grants as well. So we're looking for it all of the time.
I think one of the challenges this year is, federal programs,
Yeah.
title funding is much less.
It is.
In the past, we have had significant funds for title program, and we don't have that this year. I don't know what if other people's money looks like mine, the number is smaller. And so we're trying to be creative and figure out ways that we can do things. And this really was a wonderful opportunity for us to sort of keep going with where we were in our process. So.
Ms. Lane?
So is this in addition to the work and the help we're getting from Solution Tree?
So this money, well, Moline is not, doesn't have our content coach back this year, since we are not one of the, let me say the right word, turnaround schools. So our content coach is not back with us this year. But yes, this money is in addition to all the things that you guys vote on and provide to us. They are allowing us $200 to help create this plan, implement the plan, whether that's resources, professional development. I'm trying to think of other things. It's hard for me to know because we have not had our first learning session. That will happen at the end of October. And so as we learn along the way, we're going to be putting pieces of the plan together. So it's hard for me to say until the plan is written, but a lot of it will include professional development, materials, resources, different things like that. So yes, it's all sort of new above and beyond what we already have.
And so when you know where you're starting, so how over what kind of time do you think that you'll use this $200,000?
By the end of February, I know we will submit the plan for approval. So at that time, I'm more than happy to bring that back to the board so that you're able to see what's included in the plan. They, I believe, want to write the check relatively immediately, so we need to sort of know how we want to allocate the funds, to be able to get those sort of spent, allocated, all of those things. So it's not you stretch it out over years and years of time. They really do want to see the impact of the work. The school that we visit in Virginia and some other schools that they use are schools that received the grant just a few years ago. And so what they really want is sites that they're able to send other educators to say, this is how we implement a structured early literacy program. So fast. Not fast enough for me, but fast in terms of spending $200,000 fast.
So Amber, go ahead, Ms. Tisworth, I'm sorry.
So I'm not saying that,
You turned it
One
on.
more time.
I'm not saying that, Lewis and Clark is doing bad. I love doing what, teaching the kids, and I have seen some improvement. I'm just wondering where all this funds, that's all I want to know, and it was explained that you had to look for.
Yeah, I mean, it's not from us, it comes from the Emerson company. Emerson is a company, a software and technology company who, through their philanthropic, means are seeking to put money into schools, so.
I just thought maybe we'd have some, even though the kids are eager, the children are eager to learn, and they are improving. I just thought we had these good, the ABC thing where you punch.
And some of it is, I think, like Dr. Patton said, it's about us learning things and then being able to share that learning and expand that knowledge to other people. Once you learn something, you have all the power in that learning to be able to spread that to other people. So it's not just about teaching kids, it's about helping our colleagues, and sort of as a district creating the structure for that kind of professional learning together. I do know that we are able to, what I know is we can write money in for professional learning over the summer. I don't quite know exactly what that looks like, but in the past, Moline has planned professional learning opportunities, and we have been able to include others in those. So I don't want to jump the gun and assume that we can do that, but by all means, we would look at any way that we can include as many educators as possible in those learning opportunities.
Madam Chair, I had a quick question. Were they only going to award one school per district, or the other school within the district could have been awarded?
I didn't read the details of it
Okay.
to know whether they were going to only award one school within our district. Amber actually read it, so can you recall whether it said it was only going to be
I
one?
can tell you it's considered for LEAs. While I don't know who applied, I do know in both years, only 4 school sites were selected. They appear to be pretty specific. Last year was 2 charter schools and 2 district schools, one in Ferguson Florissant and one in University City. And then this year, 2 charter schools, and then 2 traditional public schools, one in Riverview, one in Maplewood, Richmond Heights. So it feels like they're kind of looking for pockets, places, because their belief would be that if they can impact one school in Riverview, they can impact multiple schools. If they can impact one school in Ferguson Florissant, they can impact multiple schools.
I was just curious.
Okay, Ms. White, thank you.
Absolutely.
Our next item up for discussion is technology surplus items. Making this presentation is Dr. Larry. Oh, there she is. I was like, where's Dr. Larry? Okay. Dr. Larry, this is in conjunction with, sorry, Dr. Larry. And you got on your heels too, and I just missed all of that. I'm sorry. This is in conjunction with policy DN2 surplus for district property. Dr. Larry?
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Education, Dr. Patton, colleagues. As Dr. Patton said, this is in compliance with policy DN2. We have surplus
property that needs to be declared surplus so they can be recycled. There's some items that are so old that they can't be repaired, or the cost of repairing them is beyond our budget. And if it can't be repaired or can't be updated, it's dangerous to have on the network. Therefore, we have some old Apple Connect equipment that's from 8 years ago. We have hotspots from prior projects, switches from the 2010 E-rate projects, and those large TVs that are in the classroom that teachers are clamoring for us to remove from their classrooms. Mr. Scheid is taking care of that, and we're gonna have those recycled as well. I will tell you, for Ms. Morrow asked, we will not get much money this time because there is a cost for the large TVs. And what we'll do is working with Mr. Scheid, so we'll hopefully come out on the even. They'll give us some money for the other recyclable items, charge us for the TVs, and if there's any extra, Scheid needs to carry, covers that. As I said, it's costly to repair it, so we do need to get rid of these old items, and the principal saying get them out of their buildings as well. Are there any questions?
You mentioned a cost for the TVs, what you mean?
Recycling companies now charge you to pick up these are the large, I don't even call
With
them
the
console
tube.
vehicles.
With the two.
CRT bag, yes. Yes.
So we couldn't save costs and take it to them?
To dispose of them, they charge you. If you
They
got-
charge you to
they
dispose
charge
of them
disposal.
and pick it up.
Yes.
So how much is the pickup? Give me an example of pickup.
Now that I do not know, I don't remember because it's free when they pick up the items, they pick the recyclable items, it's free. But now whenever any recycling company that you contact now to pick up those large TRT televisions, there's a cost.
But those are not gonna get recycled?
I'm not
The
sure what they do
TVs?
with them. Because I'm sure you've been in a class,
Mhm.
yes, and teachers were complaining that they're hitting them over the head, they have to be real careful. So they've been asking to get them removed, and Mr. Scheid took it upon himself to go around and remove them. And so when I contacted the company, normally we get it's not much that they pay us, a small price that they pay us for the recyclable items. But they did tell me that there is a charge for the large TV, the
And
CRT.
will it be more than what we would get from them, basically?
Last time I think he had to pay $40. It's not much, but it is something that we have to pay generally, depending on the number. This time we had 50, I believe, TVs that they have to pick up. I think it was 50. So they picked up more than last time. So it depends on if we try to even out by giving them so many of the other things that they're willing to pay us for.
I guess I'm just processing. If it's gonna cost us to recycle, why not put it in the dumpster?
You can't do that. That's illegal.
Yeah, you just-
I couldn't do
We're
it.
gonna strike that from. the-
Like they can't, no, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you can't call Waste Management and ask them to get this stuff, or
What-
whoever we use.
You would have to pay them.
Curious.
You would have to pay them. Mhm.
And will it be more than what they are charging or less? It's still a fee, so which one makes sense? If it's gonna be less for the company, the waste company to pick it up versus the recycling company, then we should go with the lesser amount. So that's the logic that I'm saying. Why would we be paying for them to come pick up something that could be addressed through the waste company? So I think a comparison needs to be made on the advantages as far as the cost. Yeah.
Check that. I'm sure whenever we do recycling in my neighborhood,
Mhm.
they will tell you, they won't take those large televisions.
Mhm.
So because of, I'm not sure there's something in there that they won't take. But I will inquire to see if we can find, if they will if we can find another company to do it. But every recycling company that I contacted, there is a cost.
Okay.
But I was fortunate that the last time, I think it's $40. Do you remember? It was a minimal amount. I know we don't want to pay anything, but the $40, it was worth it for us to get rid of them.
Okay.
I'll tell you, Dr. May, that, and I hate to say this out loud, but I just had a big back television picked up from my house, and they charged me $200 to take it.
Okay.
So it's not, and I would rather have put it in the dumpster, but I did the right thing and just paid the money to get it out. But it's quite expensive. I think if it's $40, that's probably gonna be better, we can look into the price comparison, but I can tell you it was it was about $195 to take it.
Yes. I bargained with them to get it down, so we're, they are very familiar with me, they work with me a lot, so.
I think an inquiry needs to be made as to what Dr. May did with her big back television. I think that needs to be investigated.
I don't even remember. I think somebody got that. It was still good to use.
All right. All right. Any more questions about that? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Moving, okay, hold on. Moving to our next item for discussion is the Feminine Hygiene Grant for school year 25-26. Making this presentation is Ms. Deirdre Liddell, Executive Director of Student and Community Support Services, and this is in conjunction with policy JHC, Student Health Services and Requirements. Ms. Liddell?
Greetings to the Riverview Garden Board of Education, Dr. Patton, colleagues, and community. I am pleased to announce that DESE is providing a feminine hygiene grant for this school year. In the past, this has been a reimbursable grant. However, this year they are supplying checks to, they're sending checks directly to the school, so we don't have to reuse funds first. We will receive $7,225.97. And by supplying these essential hygiene items, the grant will help to remove barriers and negatively impact student attendance as well as student engagement. So this is at a, this is for a positive for the district. Again, $7,225.97, and I will ask the board to accept the grant funding at the next board meeting. Are there any questions?
All right, Ms. Liddell, you can move right into the next two. It's Liverholics MOU, and then it is, it's all MOU. So, Ms. Liddell.
Okay, so the next item that I will be bringing is the MOU for Liverholics. This MOU is directly tied to the Cairo grant, the Keeping It Real Youth Organization grant that will serve scholars at Lewis and Clark. This portion of the MOU provides food service for after school and summer activities for scholars at Lewis and Clark. Are there any questions? Okay, the next item is our MOUs for Youth Leadership Institute. Youth Leadership Institute will be located at Westview Middle School. They provide community engagement, character building, leadership development, as well as academic enrichment. And this MOU is supported by the members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. The next MOU I bring to you is the Missouri Department of Social Services and Foster Care. This allows for us to build back the transportation costs of students that are in foster care. So we currently have approximately 35 students. However, this allows us to build back the funds for their transportation. Are there any questions? Okay. All of these MOUs have gone to legal, with the exception of the Youth Leadership Program. That one is pending legal. And I should have done these separately, because the Cairo, I'm asking for approval tonight for the
Liverholics.
Liverholics MOU.
They are separate.
Okay, I'm sorry, I had kind of flew through all of them.
Yeah, they're separate.
Tonight. The Youth Leadership Institute, Missouri Department of Social Services, I will be asking for approval at the next board meeting. Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, Madam Chair, that concludes the items for discussion.
Thank you. Next, we will move to our items for action. May I have a motion? to approve our items for action.
Madam-
Item for
Mhm.
action.
Madam Chair, I had a question. For the grants, are they ready to, implement? What is the holdup as far as why they might not have been included for items for action today?
These two,
The grants.
Liddell, do you want to address the Youth Leadership Institute and the Missouri Department of Social Services, why you didn't ask for approval tonight? That's your question, Dr. May?
Mhm.
I was just trying to, follow the correct flow of the approval process as far as the board meetings go. In regards to the, Livaholics, where there is another program that's already started. And with that program, they usually have food, and without the MOU is holding up the after-school food program for that MOU.
And for the hygiene one is all ready to go too?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the hygiene one, but she's gonna ask for approval on the next one. Is that your request?
Yes,
Yes.
that's correct, and we have not received a check from Desi yet, so we are in waiting, still sitting and waiting for. the
Okay.
check.
I was gonna make an amendment to add, some items to action based.
I'm not opposed.
Okay. Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion first to move, the feminine hygiene grant and the Emerson Literacy Grant. Is those the two? Or is it one more?
The,
The Emerson Literacy Grant is for
Mhm.
for Moline.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and the foster care. If I could, I would like to make a motion for items, the feminine hygiene grant, the, Emerson and Literacy Grant, and the foster to be moved to items of action, for approval tonight. That's the first motion.
Do I hear a second?
Who wants to say that? They didn't hear you.
I second.
Hers is already.
Madam Chair, I was going to second it. I was just reading them over again. I don't think because Board Member Jackson is a part of this, that she should make a vote on this. I think she should, what do you? what's her name?
I think she's already recused herself from her specific one.
Okay,
This one is specific to
someone
the
else.
other one, yeah.
Thank you for that
recused herself.
explanation. I'll second.
Okay, the motion has been made to move the Emerson Early Literacy
Mhm.
Challenge Grant, also the Feminine Hygiene Grant, and then the Foster Care Grant to items for action. It has been moved by Dr. May and seconded by Ms. Moore Real. Is there any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Madam Chair, I would like to make a motion for, the Livaholics, item for action A, along with the three, items for action that we just included, which were the grants for the foster, the feminine hygiene grant, and the Emerson to be approved.
Do we have to, Dr. May, include those three again because we've already?
Well, I was making a motion to move them to items for action first.
Oh, okay, because that's what I thought.
Oh.
We had approved them, okay. All right, I'll second.
Okay, it has been motioned by Dr. May to approve the items for action, including the Livaholics, the Emerson Literacy Grant, Feminine Hygiene Grant, and also the Foster Grant for approval, and it has been seconded by Ms. Moore Real. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah.
I just have a question.
Go ahead.
And you can
Go ahead, Dr. Coleman.
rescue me if I'm wrong. I'm looking at the, MOU provided by, the Livaholics, and I'm looking at the part that says, invoicing. The district shall not be required to pay any cost, make any kind contributions, or contribute funds for the services provided by the vendor. which services shall be funded through a state program and fully administered by the vendor. So I'm confused. Help me out. If this is a program that's funded by the state, I guess what I'm asking, I don't know any other way to put it, if, are you receiving state funding for services provided to Riverview Gardens? And if that's the case, is that a conflict of interest?
So, do you,
I can answer to that because that Liberaholic is, they provide food for, Cairo. The first thing I think that it was a misunderstanding with the whole contract is that they provide the food for the school. They are funded by the state. That no money comes to Cairo or it comes through the district. It is directly to them. They are the food provider. They are the vendor. The only reason that Cairo do not do the food program ourselves is because I am in the schools and I did not want to take any money coming into the school because I wanted all my services to be free.
So Cairo is not part of?
No, that is a total different entity.
All right.
no,
okay.
and Dr. Comer, we have partnerships with other organizations that get state funding, and they provide services to Riverview Gardens. They get the funding to their organization, but the service is Little Bit Foundation, Soul Fishers, they all have state funding too, that they provide services to Riverview, but not any of the actual funding.
Right, I
That's
understand
just
that. The
services.
question was because Soul Fishers and those people are not a part of our board. So the question
Oh,
was
I got you.
because
I got you.
was this a conflict? Okay.
Okay, okay.
But you're saying that
No money comes directly to Cairo, period. It goes to her. That is her own entity. That is her organization. It has nothing to do with my.
and that's not you, okay.
No, ma'am.
That's not, okay.
We have totally different names and totally different EINs.
Mhm.
Okay.
And that was my understanding to why they had to have their own vendor contract as
Exactly.
well. Okay. Mhm.
There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I abstain from their vote.
Thank you. Motion carries. Okay. Next, may I have a motion to adjourn our work session?
I so move.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Ms. Morrill and seconded by Dr. May to adjourn our work session. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries, meeting adjourned.